month with a nice song. I was reading, I will read a couple of lines to bring up to the speed and then we will continue. We are reading from 89th chapter of Krishna book. His neck was decorated with the Kastuba jewel. This is the Mahavishnu's description. And his chest was marked with the symbol of Subhast, which means the resting place of the goddess of fortune. And the Lord wore a garland of lotus flowers down to his knees. This long garland is known as Vaijanti garland. So that's where we left yesterday, so we will continue. The Lord was attended by his personal associates, Nand and Sunanda, and the personified Sudarshan disk was also standing by him. As stated in the Vedas, the Lord has innumerable energies, and they also stood there in their personified forms. The most important among them were as follows: Pushti, the energy for nourishment; Shri, the energy of beauty; Kirti, the energy of reputation; and Aja, the energy of material creation. All these energies are invested in the administrators of the material world, namely Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu, and also in Indra, the king of the heavenly planets, Chandra, Varuna, and the sun god. In other words, all these demigods, being empowered by the Lord with certain energies, engage in transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mahavishnu future is an expansion of Krishna's body. The Brahma Samhita confirmed that Mahavishnu is a portion of a plenary expansion of Krishna. All such expansions are non-different from the personality of Godhead. But since Krishna appeared within this material world to manifest his pastime as a human being, he and Arjuna immediately offered their respect to Lord Mahavishnu by bowing down before him. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Krishna offered respect to Mahavishnu. This means that Krishna offered obeisances unto none other than himself, because Lord Mahavishnu is non-different from Krishna himself. This offering of obeisances by Krishna to Mahavishnu is not, however, the form of worship known as Ahangra Upasana, which is sometimes recommended for persons trying to elevate themselves to the spiritual world by performing the sacrifice of knowledge. Such persons are also mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. Jnana ajnanena chapi anya yajanto mam upasate. Although there was no necessity for Krishna to offer obeisances, because he is the master teacher, he taught Arjuna just how respect should be offered to Lord Mahavishnu. Arjuna, however, became very much afraid upon seeing the gigantic form of everything, distinct from the material experience. Seeing Krishna offering obeisances to Lord Mahavishnu, he immediately followed him and then stood before the Lord with folded hands. After this, the gigantic form of Mahavishnu, greatly pleased, smiled pleasingly and spoke as follows. Quote, My dear Krishna and Arjun, I was very eager to see you both, and therefore I arranged to take away the babies of the Brahmana and keep them here. I have been expecting to see you both at this palace. You have appeared in the material world as my incarnation in order to minimize the force of the demoniac persons who burden the world. Now, after killing all these unwanted demons, you will please come back to me. The two of you are incarnation of the great sage Naranarayana. Although you are both complete in yourself to protect the devotees and to annihilate the demons, and especially to establish religious principles in the world so that peace and tranquility may continue. You are teaching the basic principle of factual religion so that the people of the world may follow you and thereby be peaceful and prosperous. Unquote. Lord Krishna and Arjun then offered their obeisances to Lord Mahavishnu, and taking back the Brahmana's children, they returned to Dwarka via the same route by which they had entered the spiritual world. All the children of the Brahmana had duly grown up after returning to Dwarka. Lord Krishna and Arjuna delivered to the Brahmana all of his sons. Arjuna, however, was struck with great wonder after visiting the transcendental world by the grace of Lord Krishna. And by the grace of Krishna, he could understand that whatever opulence there may be within this material world is an emanation from him. Any opulent position a person may have within this material world is due to Krishna's mercy. One should therefore always be in Krishna consciousness, in complete gratefulness to Lord Krishna, because whatever one may possess is all bestowed by him. Hari. Arjuna's wonderful experience due to the mercy of Krishna is one of the many thousands of pastimes performed by Lord Krishna during his stay in this material world. They were all unique and have no parallel in the history of the world. All these pastimes prove fully that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet, while present within this material world, he played just like an ordinary man with many worldly duties. He played the part of an ideal householder, possessing more than 16,000 wives, 16,000 palaces, and 160,000 children. Shramit Prabhu has just joined, so let me mute him. And in that role, he performed many sacrifices just to teach the royal order how to live in the material world for the welfare of the humanity. As the ideal Supreme Personality who fulfilled the desire of everyone, from the Brahmanas, the highest persons in human society, down to the ordinary living entities, including the lowest of man. Just as King Indra is in charge of distributing rain all over the world to satisfy everyone in due course, so Lord Krishna satisfied everyone by pouring down his causeless mercy. His mission was to give protection to the devotees and to kill the demoniac kings. Therefore, he killed many hundreds and thousands of demons. Some of them he killed personally, and some were killed by Arjuna, who was deputed by Krishna. In this way, he established many pious kings such as Yudhishthira at the helm of world affairs. Thus, by his divine arrangement, he created the good government of King Yudhishthira, and there ensued peace and tranquility. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 89th chapter of Krishna, the super excellent power of Krishna. So we will embark in the chapter 90, summary descriptions of Lord Krishna's pastime. This is the beauty, that repetition is very important. We should repeat those pastimes in our mind and heart. And if we keep on practicing, one day it becomes a natural part of our life to remember those pastimes. So after returning from the spiritual kingdom, which he was able to visit personally with Krishna, Arjuna was very much astonished. He thought to himself that although he was only an ordinary living entity, by the grace of Krishna, it had been possible for him to see the spiritual world. Not only had he seen the spiritual world, but he had also personally seen the original Mahavishnu, the core of the material creation. It is said that Krishna never goes out of Vrindavan. Vrindavanam parityajya padam ekam nagacchati. Krishna is supreme in Mathura. He is more supreme in Dwarka, and he is more supreme in Vrindavan. Krishna's pastimes in Dwarka are displayed by his Vasudev portion. Yet, there is no difference between the Vasudev portion manifested in Mathura and Dwarka and the original manifestation of Krishna in Vrindavan. In the beginning of this book, we have discussed that when Krishna appears, all his incarnation, plenary portions and portions of the plenary portions come with him. Thus, some of his different pastimes are manifested not by the original Krishna himself, but by his expansion. Why Arjuna was puzzled by Krishna's going to see Karanarva Nava Sai Vishnu in the spiritual world is fully discussed in the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as follows. It is understood from the speech of Mahavishnu that he was very eager to see Krishna. It may be said, however, that since Mahavishnu took away the Brahmana's sons, he must certainly have gone to Dwarka to do so. Therefore, why did he not see Krishna there? A possible answer is that unless Krishna gives his permission, he cannot be seen even by Mahavishnu lying in the casual ocean of the spiritual world. Thus, Mahavishnu took away the Brahmana's sons one after another, just after their births, so that Krishna would come personally to the casual ocean to retrieve them. And then Mahavishnu would be able to see him there. If that is so, the next question is, why would Mahavishnu come to Dwarka personally if he were not able to see Krishna? Why did he not send some of his associates to take away the sons of Brahmana? A possible answer is that it is very difficult to put any of the citizens of Dwarka into trouble in the presence of Krishna. Therefore, because it was not possible for any of the Mahavishnu's associates to take away the Brahmana's son, he personally came to take them. Another question may also be raised. The Lord is known as Brahmanya Deva, the worshipable deity of the Brahmanas. So why was he inclined to put a Brahmana into such a terrible condition of lamentation over one son after another until the 10th son was taken away? The answer is that Lord Mahavishnu was so eager to see Krishna that he did not hesitate even to give trouble to a Brahmana. Hari Bol. Although giving trouble to a Brahmana is forbidden act, Lord Vishnu was prepared to do anything in order to see Krishna. He was so eager to see him. After losing each of his sons, the Brahmana would come to the gate of the palace and accuse the king of not being able to give the Brahmanas protection and of thus being unfit to sit on the royal throne. It was Mahavishnu's plan that the Brahmana would accuse the Kshatriyas and Krishna would be obliged to come see him to take back the Brahmana's son. This divine arrangement is hard to understand. Huh? Still, another question may be raised. If Mahavishnu cannot see Krishna, then how was Krishna obliged to come before him after all to take back the sons of Brahmana? The answer is that Lord Krishna went to see Lord Mahavishnu not exactly to take back the sons of Brahmana, but only for Arjuna's sake. Hari Bol. His friendship with Arjuna was so intimate that when Arjuna prepared himself to die by entering a fire, Krishna wanted to give him complete protection. Arjuna, however, would not desist from entering the fire unless the son of the Brahmana were brought back. Therefore, Krishna promised him, quote, I shall bring back the Brahmana's sons. Do not try to commit suicide, unquote. So if Lord Krishna were going to see Lord Vishnu only to reclaim the son of the Brahmana, then he would not have waited until the 10th son was taken. But when the 10th son was taken away by Lord Mahavishnu, and when Arjuna was therefore ready to enter the fire, because his promise was going to prove false, that serious situation made Lord Krishna decide to go with Arjuna to see Mahavishnu. It is said that Arjuna is an empowered incarnation of Narnarayan. He is even sometimes called Narnarayan. The Narnarayan incarnation is one of the Lord Vishnu's plenary expansions. Therefore, when Krishna and Arjuna went to see Lord Vishnu, it is to be understood that Arjuna visited in his Narnarayan capacity, just as Krishna, when he displays his pastime in Dwarka, acted in his Vasudeva capacity. So after visiting the spiritual world, Arjuna concluded that whatever opulence anyone can sow within this material or the spiritual world is all a gift of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is manifested in various forms as Vishnu Tattva, and Jiva Tattva, or in other words as Swamsa and Vibhinnamsa. Vishnu Tattva is known as Swamsa and Jiva Tattva is known as Vibhinnamsa. He can, therefore, display himself by his different transcendental pastime in the portion of either Swamsa or Vibhinnamsa as he likes, but still he remains the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. The concluding portion of Krishna's pastime is found in the 19th chapter of the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. And in this chapter, Sukadeva Goswami wanted to explain how Krishna lived happily at Dwarka with all opulences. Krishna's opulence of strength has already been displayed in his different pastimes. And now it will be shown how his residence at Dwarka displayed his opulence of wealth and beauty. In this material world, the opulences of wealth and beauty are considered the highest of all opulences. Yet, they are only a perverted reflections of these opulences in the spiritual world. Therefore, while Krishna stayed on this planet as the Supreme Personality Godhead, his opulences of wealth and beauty had no comparison within these three worlds. Krishna enjoys 16,000 beautiful wives, and it is most significant that he lived at Dwarka as the only husband of these thousands of beautiful women. This is specifically stated that he was the only husband of 16,000 wives. It is, of course, not unheard of in the history of the world that a powerful king would keep many hundreds of queens. But although such a king might be the only husband of so many wives, he could not enjoy all of them at one time. Lord Krishna, however, enjoyed all of his 16,000 wives simultaneously. Although it may be said that yogis also can expand their bodies into many forms, the yogis' expansions and Lord Krishna's expansions are not the same. Krishna is therefore sometimes called Yogeshwar, the master of all yogis. In the Vedic literature, we find that the yogi Shubhari Muni expanded himself into 8. But that expansion was like a television expansion. The television image is manifested in millions of expansions, but those expansions cannot act differently. They are simply reflection of the original and can only act exactly as the original does. Krishna's expansion is not material, like the expansion of the television or the yogi. When Narad Muni visited the different palaces of Krishna, he saw that Krishna in his different expansions was variously engaged in each and every palace of the queens. It is also said that Krishna lived in Dwarka as the husband of the goddess of fortune. King Rukmini is the goddess of fortune, and all the other queens are her expansions. So Krishna, the chief of the Vishnu dynasty, enjoyed with the goddess of fortune in full opulence. The queens of Krishna are described as permanently youthful and beautiful. Although Krishna had grandchildren and great-grandchildren, neither Krishna nor his queens look older than 16 or 20 years of age. The young queens were so beautiful that when they moved, they appeared like lightning moving in the sky. They were always dressed with excellent ornaments and garments and were always engaged in sportive activities like dancing, singing, or playing ball on the roof of the palaces. The dancing and tennis playing of the girl in the material world are perverted reflections of the original pastime of the original personality of Godhead, Krishna, and his wives. So I think one more paragraph we can read and then we will stop. The roads and streets of the city of Dwarka were always crowded with elephants, horses, chariots, and infantry soldiers. When elephants are engaged in service, they are given liquor to drink, and it is said that the elephants in Dwarka were given so much liquor that they would sprinkle a great quantity of it on the road and walk on the street intoxicated. The infantry soldiers passing on the street were profusely decorated with golden ornaments, and horses and golden chariots plied along the street. In all directions of Dwarka city, wherever one would turn his eyes, he would find green parks and gardens, each of them filled with trees and plants laden with fruits and flowers. Because there were so many nice trees of fruits and flowers, all the sweetly chirping birds and buzzing bumblebees joined together to make sweet vibrations. The city of Dwarka thus fully displayed all opulences. The heroes in the dynasty of Yadu used to think themselves the most fortunate residents of the city, and actually they enjoy all transcendental facilities. So we will stop here and let me take the screenshot so we can remember where we are. Now I'm not sure that I will have to go and settle with the silver vendor tomorrow or day after tomorrow. Uh, so one of the days I may have to take a leave because I have to check everything, verified everything. So many items are there. So I'm not sure. As I talk over the phone with him, keep everything ready and then I will come either tomorrow or day after tomorrow. So looking forward for your association and we'll see how it turn out tomorrow or day after tomorrow. I may miss your association or maybe I may join for some time. It depends on so many other things, but always looking forward for your kind association. So thank you very much. Month of Kartik has begun and I think we should make some extra vow that really put us into the dependency of Krishna. Once we desire something seriously, Krishna will make it happen. So with that faith, please take some austerities in the month of Kartik and pray to Krishna to make those vows fulfill completely by his mercy only. So with those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. And if Krishna so desire, we will